Hey guys, so here's the part 2 of the 2.4 day 1 notes. We're continuing to factor polynomial expressions. We're now going to talk particularly about sum and differences of cubes. Now, in order to do of cubes, we need to know our perfect cubes. Okay, so let's kind of list them. We got 1, we got 8, because 2 cubed is 8. 3 cubed is 27. 4 cubed, that's going to give us 64. 5 cubed is going to be 125. You might not have to go further than that. If so, you can always just take the cube root or just kind of figure out, like, take a number and cube it to see if that's the answer, okay? So how I got my perfect cubes, all I did was take a number and cube it, and that's how I got my perfect cubes, okay? Okay, so now let's go ahead, let's look at the factoring. So this is actually going to be very similar when we talked about like the sum or the difference of squares, okay? But there is going to be a little bit different when we do our factorization. So if we have 8 cubed plus b cubed, that's going to be a plus b. Then the z should be an a. We got a squared minus ab plus b squared. And then if we have subtraction, so a difference, that's going to be a minus b, then a squared plus ab plus b squared. Okay, so what we're going to do is identify our a and b, and then plug those into basically these formulas. Okay, so let's look at example 2a. We got x cubed plus 64. Okay, so we got to figure out our a and our b. So in order to figure out a and b, we got to take the cube root. So notice that our a, so that's going to be the number in front of the x cubed, is 1. Anytime you take, a root of 1, that's always going to give that back. So the cube root of 1 is just 1. Now, cube root of 64, okay, so if you need to write this as well, so we cube root all of these. We get 1, 2, 3, this is 4, there's our 5. Okay, so we take the cube root of 64, that's going to be 4. Okay, now we're going to plug 1 and 4 into our formula. Notice we have addition here. So this is a sum of cubes, so we're going to do that a plus b, and then a squared minus ab plus b squared. Okay, we got a. Now, don't forget also, I should put this as well. Our a is also going to involve the variable. So, of course, anything for our cube, our variable cube, it's just going to be that variable. So we're going to have 1x, or you can just put x, plus our b, which is plus 4. Now we have a squared. So we do 1x squared. So that's just going to give us x squared. Okay, minus ab. So we do 1x times 4, so that minus 4x. And then plus b squared. So we square our 4, which gives us plus 16. And this would be our factorization. Okay, let's look at b. Now, I should have said this earlier, as we did in the last few problems. Always check to see if the terms have anything in common. So let's look at b. Do these terms have anything in common that we can take out first? Yes, they do, okay? They, in fact, have 2 in common, so we're going to take that out. And then they have z squared in common. So let's rewrite this. So I have 8z cubed minus 125. Now notice that 8z cubed minus 125, that is our difference of cubes, okay? So now how we're going to do this, we are still going to bring the 2z squared down. Now let's identify our a and b values to help us out. Okay, a value. So we need to take the cube root of 8 if we go back up. If we take the cube root of 8, that's going to give us 2. And then don't forget, anytime you take the cube root of that variable, it's just going to be the variable. B, take the cube root of 125. When we do that, we have 5. Right? There we go. So now we're going to follow this little formula that we have. So we have a minus b. So we'll have 2z minus 5. Now we have a squared. Now be careful here. Not only are you going to square the z, but you got to square the 2 as well. So we're actually going to have 4z squared. Okay, so be careful when you have an a value other than 1. You got to square that as well. Okay, a times b, that's going to give us 10z. And then we do b squared, so 5 squared is going to be plus 25. Okay. Also, just be careful with your signs as well. So follow that formula. So here's our final factorization. Now I also want to kind of show you how do you take the cube root of a number in your calculator. So let me go ahead and show that to you. Okay, so if you ever need to take a cube root of a number, How you're going to do that is you're going to go to math in your calculator, okay? And then notice here for number 4, we have cube, this 3, and then the square root sign. So that actually represents the cube root. So you're going to press enter for that, and then put any number that you need to. So let's pick 8. And then you just press enter, and it gives you the cube root. So that's how you can do that, especially to do the sum and difference of cubes. Okay, make sure that you watch part 3 of the 2.4 Day 1 notes.